Hello there and welcome. In this week's What's for Dinner video, I'm going to start off by making Philly cheesesteak subs. I just put 1 green pepper, 1 yellow onion, and then I seasoned that with my steak seasoning. I gave that a good stir, and then once that cooked down, I grabbed my steak fajita meat. We have used regular steak, we've used steak gums, and we've used this, and it's all turned out pretty well. So I just decided to use this tonight. I put a lid on my skillet to let the meat thaw since it's already frozen and fully cooked, and then I gave it another good stir. I decided to toast my Italian sub buns this night, and then after that was toasted, I just loaded it with some of the mixture and I put some provolone cheese on top. Next meal is taco potato casserole. We love this. It's super easy and it's delicious. So I'm going to start off by cutting up 1 yellow onion. I put it in my pan and put some olive oil on top, and then I grab my garlic and do 2 teaspoons of garlic. I let the onions cook down a little bit, and then I add in my ground beef. You can use whatever kind of ground beef that you like. I think this is just 80-20 ground beef. And then while that cooks down, I put my shredded hash browns in my crock pot. I grab my cheddar cheese soup and put that on top, and then I grab my diced tomatoes with green chilies, put that on top, and then once my ground beef is just about done cooking, I take that and I put that in my crock pot as well. Then grab your 1 packet of taco seasoning and add it in. You can get a big one like this from Costco. We prefer this to be extra cheesy, so I just measure with my heart. Once all that is in, I'm going to give this a good stir. You're supposed to put some sour cream in the crock pot as well while it cooks, but I didn't have any on hand, so I just went without it, and it turned out just as good as it usually does. Like I said, I'm just going to give it a good stir, put my lid on it, and then I'm going to put it on high for 2 hours. Next is my chicken and potato skillet. Because I have to feed a family of 4, I'm going to use 4 large russet potatoes. You're going to want to cut these up into small pieces because you're going to put them in your air fryer and make them all nice and crispy. I added some olive oil into my bowl, and then I season it with paprika, salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Go ahead and give that a good stir and make sure the potatoes are evenly coated with all the spices. And then I decided to cut up my chicken off camera, and I cut that up into small pieces as well. And then you're going to want to season it with the same thing: salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. I also added some olive oil on the top of it as well to make sure it didn't dry out, and then I put my russet potatoes into my air fryer bucket. Now the chicken is done and the russet potatoes are nice and crispy. You dump them into the pan with your chicken, and then you're going to grab your Buffalo Wild Wings garlic parmesan sauce. I didn't have enough for this recipe. I thought I had more, so I just took some heavy whipping cream and added it into my bottle and shook it around and dumped it on top. When that's nice and coated, grab your Parmesan cheese and measure with your heart once again. You want to cover it up and let the cheese melt, and this is what it looks like. Next meal is one of our favorite meals. These are Hawaiian slider sandwiches. This is super easy to make, and it's actually pretty inexpensive to make as well. You can get all the ingredients from Aldi, but you get a package of Hawaiian sweet rolls. You cut them in half. I had a little trouble doing so, but now I'm just going to layer on my provolone cheese. And then I'm going to layer salami, pepperoni, and ham. And then once it's done cooking, I'm also going to put some lettuce and tomato, but you can put whatever kind of lunch meat or vegetables you want. On mine, I also put some banana peppers, so it's sort of like Subway. These are seriously delicious, and I actually decided to make it again this week as I'm editing this video. Once all of your lunch meat is layered on your Hawaiian rolls, you just take the top of it and put those on. Mine kind of fell apart whenever I was cutting them in half, but you're going to preheat your oven to 350 and let those bake and let the cheese melt. Then I'm going to grab my lettuce and cut the bottom off and just sort of prep that while that's baking. My husband wanted some yellow onion on it as well, so I went ahead and just cut up the yellow onion. I sort of minced it, sort of cut it into cubes. I didn't really cut it up perfectly, but I just cut up into small enough pieces to where we could put it on the sandwich. And because I wasn't really sure how my kids were going to like these sandwiches, I decided to make them some macaroni as well, as you can see over there. But they ended up really liking these too, so now I know for next time. But I just put I put the top of the sandwiches on the finished product, and then I went ahead and cut it up. Next meal is one of our go-to meals, and that is spaghetti with meat sauce. So I just brown a pound of ground beef, and then I put some onion powder, garlic powder, oregano, basil, parsley, and a little bit of salt and pepper. I let my ground beef brown completely, and then I just grab my marinara sauce from Aldi. I like to season my own sauce anyway, so it is okay if the sauce is a little on the bland side whenever I buy it from the store. So I just give that a good stir, and then I re-season my sauce with the same spices. Then to sweeten it up, I added a little bit of sugar. I used 2 teaspoons of sugar this time, and then I gave it a good stir. Then to go along with our spaghetti, I'm going to cook these garlic knots in the oven. I get these at Aldi as well. They are delicious. I always get a couple bags of them whenever I go to Aldi to have on hand. I put them in the freezer, and then whenever we have spaghetti, I just take them out and pop them in the oven, and it works out perfectly. You cook your spaghetti to package instructions, and then I always like to put a little bit of olive oil on my cooked spaghetti so that way they don't stick together. And that does it for this video. I want to say thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in my next one.